Matt Gaetz's defense of himself has been mostly non-existent over the past week. He did his big Tucker Carlson interview. That was a disaster. I'm not really saying that. Tucker Carlson is saying that. But now the second phase of his self-defense is here. And he really couldn't wait much longer because we found out yesterday that although they're still anonymous, if Matt Gaetz is indicted and the charges include sex with a teenager, Republicans will call for his resignation, according to senior GOP lawmakers. They won't wait for Democrats to make that demand. They'll go first. Well, I think some are already demanding it, so you're not first in line. Just do the right thing. But anyway, he has written an op-ed in the Washington Examiner, and I want to read you a few excerpts. The entire thing is available if you want to read it in its entirety, but here's a few of the highlights. He says, "Since I'm taking my turn under the gun," which is a way to describe the investigation, "let me address the allegations against me directly. First, I have never, ever paid for sex. And second, I, as an adult man, have not slept with a 17-year-old. And no, I am absolutely not resigning." So Ido, I've criticized him for not specifically refuting some of these components of what's being said that he did. Here he is mostly doing that. That first one, I've never ever paid for sex. I could see how he's trying to be tricky and say I paid for the hotel, not for the sex. But he said he hasn't had sex with a 17-year-old. A very specific claim. What do you think about that?
You know, I think that it's really funny because I try my best not to accuse people of things that I don't have any evidence for. And I think all of this stuff can be tricky because I think that, I think both political parties play dirty and they people do shady stuff. That being said, I just think that when it comes to people like this who've been so vocal and have been so egregious in their behaviors, that the takedown makes it sweeter and easier for the people who hate him. And in his case, there are a lot of people who hate him, I don't know if he had sex with a young girl. I hope he didn't. I hope that's not the way that he goes out. I hope he goes out, by way of being a bad politician and being horrible at his job and not deserving to be there because he doesn't care about the people. He's basking in wealth and privilege and is so disconnected from his constituents. And I think those are the reasons why he should go. And I really hope that he hasn't sexually assaulted a young woman, because then that means there's another young woman out in the world with trauma and the horrific reality of what sexual assault is. But that being said, it's really hard to believe things that come out of the mouth of people who historically have been dishonest and deceitful. And I think that he's fighting a battle, not just because of these allegations, but the battle of having such a horrible reputation.
I think you're totally right. Look, you are better in this area than I am. I'm willing to see him go down for literally anything. I'm kidding, but no, you're right. And we will give, even though, again, we will never get credit for any of this, we'll say again, we don't know if he did any of this stuff. Has he been confirmed to be a criminal? No. Has he been confirmed to be a sleazeball? 100% yes, although we mostly suspected that anyway. Now that said, here's a bit more. He said, it comes as no, and by the way, file this under, this dude is going to present a scandal in exactly the same way Donald Trump would and has. Every criticism, every scandal is illegitimate. And so here's how he does that. It comes as no surprise that my political opponents want to sensationalize and criminalize my prior sex life, just as I am getting engaged to the best person I've ever known, as if anybody cares about that. It is regrettable that the battle of ideas should thus become so personal. But then again, when your ideas suck, you need to stoop this low. So first of all, he's presenting himself as if they're trying to take out Batman. Like, yeah, you're annoying. You're a bad guy. You're like, the DOJ isn't like, all hands on deck. We got to take down Matt Gaetz. He's about to get engaged. Fire all missiles. No, nobody cares about that. And whatever this is about, it is not about ideas because it's about you, and you have no ideas. Sure, it's easy for me as an opponent of you to say that. The people who like you don't like you for your ideas. They like you because you love Trump and you trigger the libs from their point of view. That's all it's ever been about. No Republican considers you a serious person full of substance. This isn't about ideas or stopping ideas. This is about, allegedly, you being investigated for crimes. and maybe also someone trying to extort you. Those are two separate related issues, and he tries to distract with the one to get away with the potential crimes of the former. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, isn't Robert Barr the one who started this investigation? It
was the DOJ under him, yeah.
Yeah, isn't he part of their little crew? So, this is so funny that he would spin this on just a Democrat thing where that's where the investigation began.
Sure.
Those are his own people, that's his own crew. But the other thing is that you're right, it's the spin of, that's straight out of the Donald Trump playbook. It's like, they're trying to take me down, they're trying to take me down. And again, I will continue to say, I don't pump Republican or Democrat blood. I pump for the people, and I will continue to do that. And I call it the way I see it. And when you're trash, regardless of which political party you belong to, you're trash. But what I think is interesting is that someone like this, he's just really bad at his job. He's good at being a rich, entitled, privileged kid. When you saw him square off with some people in the House when they're talking about issues that have to do with those who are not as privileged as he is. But it's just right out of the page of, and the thing that I will continue to say, right out of the page of Donald Trump's handbook, no one insults that base more than they do, because they really insult their intelligence by thinking that they will believe anything. Sure. They whack the dog constantly for these people, and it's always like stoking these conspiracy theories. And you know what? It's harmful to these people, because those are the people who are not going to get vaccinated because they believe these conspiracy theories. Yep. And I guarantee you that Matt and his big fat head probably already got his vaccination before anybody else. And these people who are following them, who are broke and are struggling because they don't have good health care and they don't have resources, believe all the foolishness that they tell them. They're idolizing the celebrity worship. And it's just so sad. I hate it here.
You're 100% right. We're gonna demonstrate right now how they do this too. How they get them to think that these people who are conning them have their back. We got an update later on about Trump conning them, and it doesn't matter how clear it is. His followers will never actually get it. But here's an example of him following in Trump's footsteps, literally stealing his lines to accomplish what Ida was just talking about. So in the op-ed, he says, "You'll see more drip, drip, drip of leaks into the media from the corrupt Justice Department and others," implying that he knows there's more coming. When you do, ask yourself why. They aren't coming from me, they are coming for you. I'm just in the way, which is literally a meme that Trump tweeted out back in 2019. You can see right here. No, this has nothing to do with their constituents. Matt Gaetz potentially raping a 17-year-old isn't about Joe from Tallahassee. It's just really not. No. And Trump potentially trying to manipulate an election and that being looked into is not about his constituents. You can't simply say every criminal thing I'm accused of doing, I'm just defending you from the deep state. No, you are a politician. People can support you or not, but they shouldn't worship you. And when you believe that everything they do, that they're accused of having done, is all in defense of you, never for their own power, their own, self-aggrandizement, or like their legacy or financial gain. It can't be any of that. It's all for me. No, be like Ida. Don't pump your blood, like she said, for these con men, regardless of party. And his just a cheap version of Trump there. Look, Matt Gaetz, you have to remember one thing at the end of the day. You're Matt Gaetz. You're not that great, honestly. Like, they'll accept you because you mock people that they don't like, but they don't love you like Trump. And Trump certainly does not love you like Trump, which is why he remains silent. He is not defending Matt Gaetz. He's not speaking out in support of him. And others have taken his lead. All of these people, the Kirks and the Bonginos and the Hannitys, you'll notice they're not speaking out in support of Matt Gaetz either, because he's been abandoned by the guy he showed so much loyalty to.
Yeah, and you know what? Being a person who is trying to stay away from social media, people are always talking about how Hollywood is filled with pedophiles. And then, and then the Democrats are pedophiles and the Republicans. Shouldn't everybody be standing against pedophiles, regardless of where they are, if they're in Hollywood or Washington or anywhere in between? Like, I'm tired of these talking points, like characteristic of someone who works in a certain place. It is an awful thing to be, and everybody should be denouncing it at all costs, because all of those people who are in that have young daughters and sons, and I'm just so tired of this politicizing of things that really affect everyday people in the worst way. And then they just get to ride off into the sunset and not deal with the consequences of all of the damage that they cause to people who don't have the privilege and the resources that they do.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.